What is up, everybody? We're in day 195 of our Bible in a Year series, the last day of Proverbs. So, we are going to be finishing up Proverbs, and we'll be getting to that Proverbs 31 chapter that we've talked about a little bit, and said I will have some advice, I guess you could say, maybe for individuals that are looking to find their someone on. Kind of taking into account what we see here in Proverbs 31 and what we've seen in Proverbs up to that point. But yeah, hopefully I won't forget at the end to get to it. So here we go. Proverbs 28. The wicked flee when no one is pursuing them, but the righteous are as bold as a lion when a land is in rebellion. It has many rulers, but with a discerning and knowledgeable person it endures. A destitute leader who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain that leaves no food. Those who reject the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law pit themselves against them. The evil do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand everything. Better the poor person who lives with integrity than the rich one who distorts right and wrong. A discerning son keeps the law, but a companion of gluttons humiliates his father. Whoever increases his wealth through excessive interest collects it for one who is kind to the poor. Anyone who turns his ear away from hearing the law, even his prayer is detestable. The one who leads the upright into an evil way will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will inherit what is good. A rich person is wise in his own eyes, but a poor one who has discernment sees through him. When the righteous triumph, there is great rejoicing, but when the wicked come to power, people hide. No one who conceals his sins, or the one who conceals his sins will not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them will find mercy. Happy is the one who is always reverent, but the one who hardens his heart falls into trouble. A wicked ruler over a helpless people is like a roaring lion or a charging bear. A leader who lacks understanding is very oppressive, but one who hates dishonest profit prolongs his life. Someone burdened by blood guilt will be a fugitive until death. Let no one help him. The one who lives with integrity will be helped, but the one who distorts right and wrong will suddenly fall. The one who works his land will have plenty of food, but whoever chases fantasies will have his fill of poverty. A faithful person will have many blessings, but one in a hurry to get rich will not go unpunished. It is not good to show partiality, yet even a courageous person may sin for a piece of bread. A greedy one is in hurry for wealth. He doesn't know that poverty will come to him. One who rebukes a person will later find more favor than one who flatters with his tongue. The one who robs his father or mother and says, "That's no sin," is a companion to a person who destroys. A greedy person stirs up conflict, but whoever trusts in the Lord will prosper. The one who trusts in himself is a fool, but one who walks in wisdom will be safe. The one who gives to the poor will not be in need, but one who turns his eyes away will receive many curses. When the wicked come to power, people hide, but when they are destroyed, the righteous flourish. Chapter 29. One who becomes stiff-necked after many reprimands will be shattered instantly, beyond recovery. When the righteous flourish, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but one who consorts with prostitutes destroys his wealth. Sorry, I had to mute something. Verse 4. By justice a king brings stability to a land, but a person who demands contributions demolishes it. A person who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. An evil person is caught by sin, but the righteous one sings and rejoices. The righteous person knows the rights of the poor, but the wicked one does not understand these concerns. Mockers inflame a city, but the wise turn away anger. If a wise person goes to court with a fool, there will be a ranting and raving, but no resolution. Bloodthirsty men hate an honest person, but the upright care about him. A fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise person holds it in check. If a ruler listens to lies, all his officials will be wicked. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. A king who judges the poor with fairness, his throne will be established forever. A rod of correction imparts wisdom, but a youth left to himself is a disgrace to his mother. When the wicked increase, rebellion increases, but the righteous will see their downfall. Discipline your children, and it will bring you peace of mind and give you delight. Without revelation, people run wild, but one who follows divine instruction will be happy. A servant cannot be disciplined by words. Though he understands, he doesn't respond. Do you see someone who speaks too soon? There is more hope for a fool than for him. A servant pampered from his youth will become arrogant later on. An angry person stirs up conflict, and a hot tempered one increases rebellion. A person's pride will humble him, but a humble spirit will gain honor. To be a thief's partner is to hate oneself. He hears the curse but will not testify. The fear of mankind is a snare, but the one who trusts in the Lord is protected. Many desire a ruler's favor, but a person receives justice from the Lord. An unjust person is detestable to the righteous, and one whose way is upright is detestable to the wicked. Chapter 30. The words of Agur, son of Jakeh, the pronouncement, the man's oration to Ithiel, and Ukal. I am more stupid than any other person, and I lack a human's ability to understand. I love when they do. I mean, they're translating it to our modern language, right? But it's just, I don't know. It always cracks me up when they do things like that. Or like in Genesis when we saw I'm blanking. Jacob. When Jacob had gone away and was working for Rachel. Well, he thought he was working for Rachel, and he was actually working for Leah. But anyways, I forget how exactly it phrases it, but it's essentially, I've worked all this time now. give me my wife so that I may go into her. Like just the bluntness of it. I'm sure many of these there's much more conversation that happened or much more back and forth, and it's kind of getting truncated to get the point across. But it's just it. I'm a simple-minded person. I find this stuff funny, so I'm sorry if you are not. Uh, verse 3. I have not gained wisdom, and I have no knowledge of the Holy One, who has gone up to heaven and come down, who has gathered the wind in his hands, who has bound up the waters in a cloak, who has established all the ends of the earth. What is his name, and what is the name of his Son? If you know, every word of God is pure. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Don't add to his words, or he will rebuke you, and you will be proved a liar. 2 things I ask of you. Don't deny them to me before I die. Keep falsehood and deceitful words far from me. Give me neither poverty nor wealth. Feed me with the food I need, otherwise I might have too much and deny you, saying, Who is the Lord? Or I might have nothing to steal, profaning the name of my God. Don't slander a servant to his master, or he will curse you, and you will become guilty. There is a generation that curses its father and does not bless its mother. There is a generation that is pure in its own eyes, yet is not washed from its filth. There's a generation, how haughty its eyes and pretentious its looks. There is a generation whose teeth are swords, whose fangs are knives, devouring the oppressed from the land and the needy from among mankind. The leech has 2 daughters. Give 3 things, are never satisfied. 4 never say enough. Sheol, a childless womb. Earth, which is never satisfied with water, and fire, which never says enough. For the eye that ridicules a father and despises obedience to a mother, may ravens of the valley pluck it out, and young vultures eat it. Three things are too wondrous for me. Four I can't understand: the way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship at sea, and the way of a man with a young woman. This is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong. The earth trembles under three things. It cannot bear up under four: a servant when he becomes king, a fool when he is stuffed with food, an unloved woman when she marries, and a servant girl when she ousts her queen. Four things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are not a strong people, yet they store up their food in the summer. Hyraxes are not a mighty people, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. Locusts have no king, yet all of them march in ranks. A lizard can be caught in your hands, yet it lives in kings' palaces. Three things are stately in their stride, four are stately in their walk: a lion, which is mightiest among beasts, and doesn't retreat before anything; a strutter rooster, a goat, and a king at the end of his army. If you have been foolish by exalting yourself, or if you have been scheming, put your hand over your mouth, for the churning of milk produces butter, and twisting a nose draws blood, and stirring up anger produces strife. All right, Proverbs 31. The words of King Lemuel, a pronouncement that his mother taught him. What should I say, my son? What son of my womb? What son of my vows? Don't spend your energy on women or your efforts on those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire beer. Otherwise he will drink, forget what he is decreed, and pervert justice for all the oppressed. Give beer to one who is dying, and wine to one whose life is bitter. Let them drink so that he can forget his poverty and remember his trouble no more. Speak up for those who have no voice, for the justice of all who are dispossessed. Speak up, judge righteously, and defend the cause of the oppressed and needy. Who can find a wife of noble character? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will not lack anything good. She rewards him with good, not evil, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax, and works with willing hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from far away. She rises while it is still night, and provides food for her household and portions for her female servants. She evaluates a field and buys it. She plants a vineyard with her earnings. She draws on her strength and reveals that her arms are strong. She sees that her profits are good, and her lamp never goes out at night. She extends her hand to the spinning staff, and her hands hold the spindle. Her hands reach out to the poor, and she extends her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of her household when it snows, for all in her household are doubly clothed. She makes her own bed coverings. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the city gates, where he sits among the elders of the land. She makes and sells linen garments. She delivers belts to the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she can laugh at the time to come. Her mouth speaks wisdom, and loving instruction is her tongue. She watches over the activities of her household and is never idle. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also praises her. Many women have done noble deeds, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. Give her the reward of her labor, and let her works praise her at the city gates. That is it. Now, I am sure. Okay, yeah. Let's say I'm sure that our questions today will go over Proverbs 31. But I just wanted to double check, and that's when I'll get into kind of the advice, if you will. Question 1. Proverbs 28:13 says, "Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Why is confession so essential to spiritual growth, and what often keeps us from it? I'd say confession is important for spiritual growth because it you can't really move on from something if you've not confessed it. I think there's something about, especially sin, getting it out in the open, kind of really takes away a lot of its power and its hold. So I think there's something about that aspect of it. Now, what keeps us from it many times, I think, is being embarrassed, shame. A lot of times, that is what kind of keeps it in the dark and prevents people from talking about it or discussing it or dealing with it in their lives. Question 2. Proverbs 30 acknowledges human limitations and marvels at God's wisdom. How does embracing our limits actually lead us into deeper trust? Excuse me, sorry. How does embracing our limits actually lead us into deeper trust and rest in God? Embracing our limits, it kind of goes back to what we've talked about the last several days with humility, right? That's having an accurate picture of yourself. So knowing what areas are strengths and what areas are weaknesses, and admitting that. Don't try to act like this certain area is something that you're really, really good at when you're not. I think that more accurately, if we have an accurate picture of ourselves, we're going to be able to be aware of our deficits more accurately, and we're going to know in those areas when I don't want to say the areas where we need to rely on God more, because we should rely on God for everything, but the areas where we are lacking, we're able to pray specifically for. We're able to look for pray specifically. Maybe God will bring people around us to help with certain things in areas of our lives and things like that. But it does help you to prepare more, I think. Question 3. Proverbs 31 describes a woman who fears the Lord and lives with strength and wisdom. What qualities in this passage reflect a life that honors God, and how can those principles apply to both men and women? There's a lot in this passage, I think, that shows a life that honors God. She is someone that is above reproach. She's honest in her dealings. She's not looking to swindle people out of money. She's looking to make money honestly. She takes care of her household. So there's a lot of things like that. What I want to focus on specifically with this, and maybe this is kind of getting past the question a little bit, but that's fine. Applying those principles for men and women is good, but I want to look at the reverse side of that. If you are in a situation where you're looking for someone, right? You're single, you're trying to find someone. You've heard people say, talk about, if you're a guy, you've heard people say, find a Proverbs 31 woman, all these things. Something that I think is beneficial. I did this. I actually did this, and I stuck with this. I had heard a sermon preached. I don't remember who it was, but I'd heard a sermon preached a long time ago, and they had talked about there were people on their staff that had done this when they were looking for a spouse, or when they were single. Maybe they weren't intentionally looking for somebody. They made a list, and the list has things that are must have, non-negotiable. Below that are things that maybe you would like them the top one is they have to have non-negotiable. The bottom is like maybe things that you would like, but it's not like a deal breaker. And there's also a things list, and this kind of fits in with the top one. But if they have these things, it's a deal breaker, non-negotiable. I think that's a good idea, and I think that if you're doing that when you don't have someone specific in mind, then it does help you to maybe view a certain person more objectively, and you're not like getting in your head and your emotions and all this. Like, you're able to look at this list that you've made previously of things that you know you want, things that you know have to be there. So I've had I had they have to have a relationship with God. Like, before anything else, that was my number one. um, there's other things on there, like preferences and things that I like, but like I wanted someone. I had kids. I had 3 kids. I wanted someone who would be able to step in and be a mother figure for them, even though she wouldn't be the biological mother for them. And so that was a one that for me had to be there. That was a deal breaker if it wasn't. I preferred someone who had some experience with kids, as far as maybe a teacher or a children's pastor or something like that. Um, I had some other things that were on the list as well. But what ended up happening when I did meet my now wife, I went through that, and practically every single thing I had on that list was there. And I would periodically pull this list out and look through it, even before her I met, and I had it in my mind. And so then, as we're having conversation and talking and know each other, things like that, these things are kind of starting to pop back into my mind. So like, she'd say something, I'm like, hey, that's on my list. And so like, I'm like basically checking this off as we're going through, without actually physically checking it off. But having that, I think, helps you to see past the emotions of the moment that's there a lot of times, and helps you to be objective, because it's a big deal picking someone that you're gonna marry. It's a huge deal. It should not be done lightly. And so I think that's a big thing. So I think women can focus on Proverbs 31 and try to take some principles and things from that. Men, look at 1 through 30 and try to take some principles from that. Ultimately, know, like, as husbands, as men of the house, our example is Christ. So I've talked about this before on the channel with stuff. Um, Camera froze. Okay, so I've talked about this before on the channel with stuff, specifically with relationship type stuff. And my role, so I'm complementarian. So I believe that the Bible teaches very clearly, actually, that a male headship is what we have in Scripture, and it's what we have in households, and what we should have, and how the church is led as well. Now, with that, that means ultimately decisions fall on my shoulders. That does not mean I do whatever I want, because the catch of this is, yes, I have the final say on decisions that are made, but I am also putting everybody else's needs, wants, everything as priority over mine. So if there is someone in my house that has to make a sacrifice, I make the sacrifice every time. It's not a discussion. It's not a debate. It's not a trying to figure out, like, if it's the right time for it, or whose turn it is. No, it's me every time, always, regardless of the situation. I make the sacrifice, and that's one example of kind of how that looks. So that is it for Proverbs. I know everyone comes here for the fascinating dating advice that I give. Never. But take it seriously. Read through and really try to evaluate yourself. Evaluate yourself against these, what you see. Try to improve yourself and look for someone who's doing the same. Chase after God with everything you have, and if someone is able to get your attention there, chances are they're going to be chasing after God with everything they have as well. So we'll be in Ecclesiastes tomorrow. Interesting book, and you're not going to want to miss it. So don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as all those things help the channel grow. If this has been a blessing to you, you can share it with somebody else. It can be a blessing to them, and word of mouth is the best way that podcasts grow as well. So that can be something that helps this channel as well. Come back every single day. We're going to have more content every single day. Bible reading plan. We're going through the Bible an entire year, different teachings, all kinds of just really great biblical sound stuff like that. So you're not going to want to miss it. Come back, subscribe. Thanks. God bless.